like, yes, it is the baby. Like, I know it's the baby. And he's over here like, no, it's not the baby, because he's thinking I'm saying the baby's in the toilet. Hi everyone, it's Raquel here. Today I feel so honored because I'm going to be sharing my third baby's birth story with you. Hannah's birth story is extremely special to me. It didn't go exactly as we planned it. We had an unintentional, unassisted home birth. However, it was my most peaceful, gentle birth. It was just such a remarkable experience. And I'm so thankful that you're here to hear her story and our experience. If you're not already subscribed, please consider subscribing for more videos all about the heart, home, and family. And Hannah's birth story begins on Saturday evening, February 2nd. I was starting to feel a little bit crampy. I'm like, you know what, this might be labor. And so I'm trying to make sure the house is all in order, you know, just in case I wake up and I'm in labor. I want the house to be ready and prepared. Now, was it labor? I woke up at 2:24 a.m. Sunday morning, February 3rd, and I was definitely having contractions. They were coming about every 10 to 15 minutes, and I just tried to rest. But it was really difficult because whereas my other two labors were completely pain-free, and the only sensation I experienced was kind of pressure in my lower back, this time around I was feeling like a band of pain in my abdomen as well as pressure in my back. So this was kind of a new sensation I was feeling, even though this was my third baby. At 6 a.m., I'm finally like, okay, my husband can wake up. It's not too early in the morning to wake him up. I just let him know that, like, I'm pretty sure this is labor, but it's going to probably be a while. Contractions are still coming, you know, every 7 to 10 minutes, etc. And he's like, well, shouldn't you call the midwife? Because my midwife has said, when your contractions are 7 minutes apart, lasting a minute, give us a call. To me, I guess I wasn't thinking they were 7 minutes apart. So like I might have a contraction and then 7 minutes later have another contraction, but then 15 minutes later I might have another contraction. So in my mind, I was still counting them as inconsistent and not in a pattern yet because they were so, you know, all over the place in between 7 and 15 minutes. I was expecting to call my midwife when every single contraction was, you know, 7 minutes intervals. Apparently that's not the way it necessarily works. And I guess I didn't know that. So I didn't call my midwife. But I was thinking, you know, with these contractions and the way they feel, they're just very manageable. They're very inconsistent with what I was thinking. It's going to be a long time before I give birth. And with my other two babies, I went to labor at 2 and 4 in the morning, and then I didn't give birth until 6 and 8 at night. I was thinking things were going to kind of go like that. They didn't. My husband is trying to get someone to snowplow our driveway. So by 8:25, I knew what was happening with the driveway, and I gave my midwife a little text, and I immediately get a phone call from my midwife, and she's like, oh, wait. You're having contractions every 2 to 4 minutes, and they're lasting 40 seconds to a minute and 20 seconds? You don't think we should be there? And I was like, no, it's going to be a while. And she said, well, with a contraction pattern like that, and with what I'm hearing on the phone, because I had a couple of contractions while we were on the phone with each other, she was like, it would just really make me comfortable if there were someone there, you know, and I don't want to be in your space and I want to give you privacy, but it would just, you know, I really think someone should be there. Could I go ahead and call the other midwife and have her just make her way leisurely up to your house? And since they're an hour and 15 minutes away. And I said, okay, sure, that's fine, you know. But I kind of feel bad because I don't want them like waiting here for several hours. So around 9 o'clock, I had called my sister who lives a half a mile down the road to come and babysit my kids. Around 9:30, she shows up and I have a contraction. It seems to last a really long time. And it feels different. Like, it was like, oh, like I could literally feel baby Hannah move down and like put some pressure on that reflex that says, get this baby out. And it kind of got a little bit pushy feeling. I was like, Zach! And so he comes in the room. I wanted to tell him two things. The first thing was, please get me a bag because I think I might throw up. And the second I wanted to tell him was, get the bathtub filled up because I think we're about to have a baby. And the contractions are coming like 1 to 2 minutes apart. So he goes off to get me a bag and I'm now in the bathroom and I have another contraction and it was like, okay, it really feels like this baby's coming. Call the midwife. And I tell him, you know, get the bathtub ready, call the midwife, the baby's coming. But maybe I need to go to the potty. Maybe that's all this pressure is. Because it doesn't make sense that I'd be having a baby so quickly. Like, it's only been an hour since I called the midwife and said, oh, it's going to be hours, you know. So maybe I just need to go to the potty. So I went and sat down on the toilet and my water broke. Baby's head is right there. And I say to my husband, I cannot have this baby on the toilet. I cannot have this baby on the toilet. And he insists that I said, did I just have the baby on the toilet? So he answers, no, that's not the baby. And I was like, yes, that is the baby, because I was saying the baby is like coming out. And so it's just really, really funny in hindsight, this like little conversation that we have, because I'm like, yes, it is the baby. Like, I know it's the baby. And he's over here like, no, it's not the baby, because he's thinking I'm saying the baby's in the toilet. So I'm like, get me to the bathtub. But my midwife is on the phone at that point, and she says, just take long breaths, really, really long breaths, very slow, you're breathing. And so that's literally, I don't have any contractions. All I do is I just breathe. It was like smooth as butter is what it felt like. Like she just came out, and so I guided her head out, and my husband, caught her and put her on my chest. It was like just one long movement. There was no stopping or anything. I was just breathing, not pushing, no contractions that were pushing her out. It was just like she was just coming right out, and I was just breathing her right out. It was so gentle. And so as soon as she was up on my chest, I was saying, hi baby, hello little darling, oh she's so cute, and she was so tiny. And it turns out, yes, she was my tiniest baby, 2 pounds smaller than my first child and over 1 pound smaller than my second child. So very small baby, and it was just so gentle. And I started singing the priestly blessing over her. The Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face to shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. And my midwife was there, and she's like, oh wow, how do you feel in your head, Raquel? And I'm like, oh, I feel great. She's asking Zach about my bleeding and everything. Everything went just wonderful. The atmosphere in the bathtub and in the bathroom was just so nice, because all the lights were off. We had like a little lamp that was there in the bathtub, and then there was kind of that background noise of the water still running. The water felt so good. It looked so clean and clear. It felt so gentle and peaceful. It was just so nice and special, because my husband was the only person there, and he was the one helping to deliver. And my midwife, who was on the phone, wasn't like frantic and panicking or anything. She was just so calm and just breathe long breaths, and so just kind of like adding into that calm and peaceful atmosphere. While also, giving directions to my husband and just asking me questions to make sure that I was not losing too much blood. And I just loved the experience. So then my husband drains the bathtub, and, to make sure that I'm not losing too much blood, they had me get out of the bathtub and just lie down flat. My bleeding basically was stopped by that point. And so then we were just going to wait for the placenta. And my midwife stayed on the phone with us the whole time while my other midwife was speeding her way to my house. But it was like super icy out and slushy and everything. It just was not good road conditions. So I'm just laying there on the floor, just holding my little baby, and I'm just so happy and everything. And my midwife, she was like, you know what, it's been 30 minutes, so let's go ahead and get you up and to the bed and see if maybe you can get Hannah breastfeeding, so that way you'll have another contraction and you can get the placenta out, because I wasn't having any contractions or anything. So my husband gets me off the floor, and literally he has to like just lift me, because laying on the floor for 30 minutes after giving birth, I was like stiff. It's like I cannot move. So he kind of just basically picks me and Hannah up, and he puts a Chuck's pad in between my legs, so that way I don't bleed on the floor as I walk to the bed. And the placenta just falls out into the Chuck's pad. So that was convenient. So in all, my midwife showed up an hour after Hannah was born, and they come in, and here we are just sitting on the bed, and my kids are in here with me at that point, and my sister, and they're meeting little Hannah for the first time. And I felt great. I felt really good. I didn't even think I tore, but I did. I just felt really, really good. We hadn't cleaned up anything, so my midwife looked at, the amount of blood loss and everything. She's like, I'm actually really pleased. Not too much blood loss. They checked out the placenta. All the placenta was there, and they gave us a little educational overview of our placenta, which they did the past 2 births also, so that's always just so nice about home births. They gave her a checkup, 7 pounds, 7 ounces, 20 inches long. Hannah's birth story is just so special to me, and even though it was an unplanned, unassisted home birth, we were very much prepared for it. And actually at my midwife appointment just 3 days before Hannah was born, I had mentioned to my midwife, you know what, I'm really preparing my mind for an unassisted home birth this time. And she said to me, you know what, I am too. And she said, normally when I think about my clients having unassisted home births, I just get really panicky and I'm very uncomfortable with it. But I have a lot of peace. Like if y'all had an unassisted home birth, which is obviously not plan A, but if y'all had an unassisted home birth, you're the couple that I would want to have the unassisted home birth. You're the most prepared and the most mentally ready for an unassisted home birth. And so I have a lot of peace about it. And so it was kind of funny that we had that conversation just a few days prior, and then here we had an unassisted home birth. And as my other midwife said when she was here, doing all of our vitals and checking out everything, she was like, this, it's just proof that birth works. I don't want to plan an unassisted home birth next time. I want to still have a midwife-assisted home birth. I like the idea of having someone who is a professional and knowledgeable and can be there if something out of the ordinary happens. However, birth does work. God designed it. He created our bodies able to give birth. It's not something we need to be afraid of, and it's not something that we need to call an emergency. It's not a sickness. It's not a disease. It's not, a problem necessarily, although they can happen, and that's why we want to have our expert there. But it works. God made a design that works. And so it was such a beautiful experience. It was just so special. It was so gentle, and being able to sing the blessing over her and just kind of, hello, it's just us here, It was just so nice. It was really beautiful. So anyhow, I hope that this positive home birth story was encouraging to you and that you enjoyed hearing it as much as I enjoyed telling it. Please give it a thumbs up because my baby is awesome and her birth story is great. It was just so wonderful. And I pray that God bless all of you and keep you. I will talk with you later. Bye-bye.